Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a video for you guys from Jeremy from the Quartering, so go ahead and subscribe to him, and in the comments tell him I said hey. This video is in regards to Asmongold destroys Antifa and woke Twitch and has a meltdown over it.
Window has been shifted one too many times, and now the internet's largest political commentator, known as Asmongold, has absolutely unleashed. In fact, agreeing with one of the more divisive figures out there, Mr. Fuentes, on their take about what to do with Antifa and their riots at like the ICE facilities and all this stuff. By the way, I 100% agree with both of them. It's the position that I've had since all of this nonsense started during the St. Floyd let me get some tennis shoes nonsense back in 2020. You have to crush these riots. You can't allow them to throw rocks at police. You can't allow them to shoot mortars and fireworks at police officers. You can't let them rob stores. You can't let...
Nope, because guess what happens? They F around now and they find out, according to Tom Homan and Kristi Noem and President Trump.
them burn down Wendy's. You can't let... Well, you just can't. They shouldn't have let them do it during the St. Floyd era. And because they did, now they're doing it again. And by the way, the mainstream media continues to absolutely gaslight and lie. Just to give you an idea, you know, here's Tom Homan about, you know, the tear gas. They're using tear gas.
To do their jobs.
But I want to point out, there's an article right here from the Oregon Live, the Oregonian. Trump's administration keeps saying there are riots at Portland's ICE building, but the last one was 4 months ago. They wrote that flippin' article today. Hello, McFly, we have eyes. Nick's...
He's on point. Hello.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Huh? Think, McFly. Think.
We watch lives, you know, and sometimes, you know, I talk to you guys about them because, like I said, I tend to watch them a lot to kind of get the inside scoop, just to see what's going on and kind of to debunk a lot of these lies. I'm going to just say what it is, because we all know that this is happening, and you know, now there's more patriots going out to Portland to kind of help out the people that are going there, like Cam Higbee and Nick Shirley, who are just trying to document and who are being, you know, harassed by Antifa. So what we know, this person who wrote this article is a big fat fibber.
Order and many others were on the ground watching these idiots riot. What are they talking about? And that was all last week. The only reason they stopped is because the National Guard came in and Trump said, hey, we got to, you know, we're not going to put up with this anymore. And then the media's like, oh, why are you using tear gas? Look at these people. This is not a peaceful protest.
Hold back, hold back. Get back!
What would you call this? Would you call this a peaceful gathering? This was in San Francisco. Here's October 17th, just 2 weeks ago. Does this look like a peaceful protest to you? Does this look peaceful to you? Oh, look at that. Now they're shooting fireworks. Oh, this is in Oregon. I was told there were no riots going on in Oregon. Literally today, the news said that. The problem is you have a bunch of rich, entitled, mostly white, directionless, rudderless losers who get to go out there and LARP as revolutionaries with zero consequence. And now with the, you know, obviously with social media, they're using this to build their own clout machine, to build social media followers by other deranged individuals. And we already know how it ends. We already know how it ends, because we saw that leftist lunatic firing rounds into an ICE facility, horribly missing, not hitting any ICE agents, but of course taking out innocent migrants on their way to be deported. Not, I mean, you know, they were innocent of the crime that that guy was trying.
He's talking about the Dallas event situation where the Dallas shooter tried to pew-pew at the ICE agents and ended up hitting migrants. Like, thanks a lot, genius.
To avenge. We saw Antifa set up an ambush of Border Patrol agents in Texas. This is how this stuff ends. You let them get more and more and more and more and more radicalized, and they have less and less and less and less consequences on top of not having consequences, they end up having benefits because they get to be gassed up by social media, many of which foreign bots and things like that to make them think they're popular. And this is how you get Asmongold saying he agrees with Nick. Here's this Connor individual, don't know who he is, but he sounds like a loser. He's like, why do people hate me? I have very moderate positions, the moderate positions. So they're saying Asmongold agreeing with what Nick said here is why people hate him. Let's hear what he said, because I didn't hear this.
This is controversial, but they have to crush the other side.
That's right. Oh, that's right.
It is right. Now, I'm not saying, just so we're clear, I'm not saying if somebody's there peacefully protesting to be like pepperballing them or spicy spraying them. They're allowed to be there and peacefully protest.
See, I agree because as you guys seen on my channel, I talk about this and sometimes I show you guys footage. There's a big difference when you have people that are peacefully protesting. I have no beef with people doing that. You have that right. That's your First Amendment right. But once you cross that line, I feel like, you know, right now everybody's doing everything, you know, softly and using kid gloves. And I think it's about time they take off the kids' gloves. And that's just my opinion. I'm not advocating for full force violence or, you know, full force like live rounds or nothing like that. I'm just saying, at what point or what can you do to cause these people to stand down where they're not being violent? You know, Antifa is like putting lasers in, you know, like the ICE agents' eyes, which they could go blind. You have them, you know, coming with weapons, you know, with knives and guns, and you have them, you know, throwing fireworks. And, you know, fireworks can be dangerous. My son learned that the hard way. He had like a fistful of sparklers, and he was just trying to light one, and he had gotten like third-degree burns. Thankfully, you know, me and my aunts, we thought fast. We put like an actual aloe vera plant on it, and we wrapped it, and we rushed him to the hospital. And the doctors, when they finally got to see him, his burn wasn't as bad. They thought that he would end up needing skin grafts, but because of our fast thinking, his burn actually was quite good, and so he didn't require any like care. All we had to do was just after that put ointment on him and keep the wound clean, and eventually his hand looked just like his other hand. You know, luckily, you know, thank God. But you know, it just shows the level of danger that comes with fireworks. And I know that from my experience. Like, we shoot off fireworks because I live in a rural area, so we shoot off fireworks, and we accidentally bought like really big firework and we almost set our trees on fire. But you know, it's because they can be very dangerous. So I feel like, at what point does the Trump administration stop using kid gloves? Like, me personally, I'm always saying
Push the goddamn button.
Push the goddamn button.
that Trump needs to hit, you know, go ahead and just the Insurrection Act. He needs to just hit that button and create the Insurrection Act already, you know, because sometimes, you know, you what I learned was sometimes you gotta do, you know, teach people that tough lesson, because, you know, if talking to somebody is not working, then unfortunately you're gonna have to come in hard. That's why you have two parents, you know. You have the mom that's always loving and understanding, and you have the dad that's the enforcer, and you need that, you know. And that's so you could get that balance. But by the way it's going, it's not happening.
But the second they cross that line and they throw rocks at people, or they're throwing mortar fireworks, or the penalty has to be severe. Because it can't just be this catch and release nonsense. Because this is why they're doing it. Humans are not hard to understand. If you look at, you know, everybody's mad at these, you know, welfare queens who are uploading stuff on TikTok. What did you expect? The system is set up in such a way where if they make more than X dollars, they lose their insurance. And if they take that job making X dollars, they don't get insurance. Or, you know, the system keeps telling them, here's more and more money to stay home and not go to work. Why do you think these people don't go to work? You can be mad at the ones who are flaunting their SNAP benefits and whatever. But if you take a step back, you know, be mad, okay, be offended, fine. But take a step back and ask yourself why these people are like this. It's because the system rewards it. And right now, the system rewards people being, attacking ICE. If you don't want 42 million people on Snap, you need to rebuild the system. You need to audit everybody who's on Snap. You need to figure out how many of these people are illegals. You need to figure out how many of these people are felons. You need to figure out how many of these people are using their SNAP benefits to sell meal plates and scam the system. Okay? Get them off. And then keep the 10 to 12 million real people who actually have physical disabilities or they're in between jobs or whatever. Maybe there's 15 million. There certainly isn't 43 million. The same thing is true about these rioters.
100 fucking percent.
Agree.
Absolutely.
Based.
You have to, because you can do one of two things. You cannot challenge the left.
That's
and
right.
let them do their thing.
And then they're going to just run you over, and eventually when they get power, they're going to crush you.
That's exactly what we saw in the Biden administration.
Yep.
Asmon knows this. Look what they did to Trump. They were in power and they tried to destroy him with lawfare. Drum up RICO charges. Let some crazy woman take hundreds of millions.
And don't forget, they went after the Mimas. The people that walked into January 6th, walked into the building and they were just walking. They just followed the crowd and they didn't know what was going on. They were they were like old people. So they're just like, okay, and then you had the police. Some of the police were actually giving a tour. These people didn't realize they were breaking the law, but yet they came after them. And I find that part really silly because you had the left take over the Capitol like that. They had sit-ins and did all this stuff. Why weren't those people thrown in jail like the way the J6ers are? Oh, that's right. Because they're from the left. There's a two-tiered justice system. That's why.
The dollars from him. They did everything they could to stop him and failed, but that doesn't mean they didn't try. And that's exactly what they'll do again.
Or you can utterly confront them and defeat them. And
you destroy them completely. Destroy everything about them.
Yep.
Put the mayors in jail. Put the governors up on the Insurrection Act for sedition. Put all the people that were doing the shit in front of the detention centers. Put them in mandatory prison labor camps. Any of them.
Well, I would clarify only if they broke the law. They're allowed to be out there. I'm sure he would agree with that. But, I think when he's saying they're doing this stuff in front of the detention center, he's talking about the rioters, I would assume.
That are violent, authorize the police officers to respond with violence to them, immediately, completely shut it down, bring in the military if you need to, bring in the National Guard, do whatever you need to do, look and find out who's funding this, take those people, charge them with incitement for terrorism, put them in Guantanamo Bay.
Agreed.
I'm talking about scorched earth, Old Testament. Get them the
100%.
fuck out.
That is the moderate position now, by the way. You look at the favorability for Republicans during even the lockdowns, or the favorability with Trump's deportations. The left-wing media like CNN and MSNBC, late-night talk show hosts, they keep trying to say, well, Americans don't want this. Baloney. Americans voted for this. They want the 40 million illegals who are getting, unemployment benefits and not paying taxes and not putting into the system, but receiving free health care and free. Your average working class American doesn't give a crap about who the president is. They don't agree with that. Average working class Americans don't want their tax dollars going to illegals. Average working Americans don't want their drive to work to be blocked by a bunch of communist LARPers who have never had to go hungry in their life, who have rich parents, and who live in the suburbs.
That's what I would do. Thank God. Super prison? Yeah. So basically the Republic is dead? No, the Republic
it's not.
is alive.
Yeah.
An election was held, and the will of the people is being upheld.
Yep.
The people voted for deportations.
Yep.
In overwhelming numbers. It's what won Trump the election. There were two major factors that got Trump to win the election. The left's insane obsession with men and women's sports. I know it's crazy, but it mattered. If you lived in a swing state, you saw the most powerful ad that Trump had was the tagline, Kamala's for they, them, Trump's for you. They ran that ad in my state nonstop for the last month leading up to the election. Why? Because they knew it was working. And immigration. People are tired of having 10, 20 million illegals come into this country. I'm fine with people coming to the country legally, but I don't want the drug dealers and criminals. And I also, sorry if this offends you, but I don't want the little old, abuela, grandma, whatever, coming over my border either. Because when they do, they become a drain on the system. They pay nothing in taxes. Look at those two idiots that were on Caleb Hammer's show not that long ago. 2 illegal immigrants, 400 grand in debt. The companies that gave them those loans will never get their money back. They don't pay taxes because he admitted he works for cash. That's one of the biggest scams ever. He'll work for cash. The mom will stay home and she'll claim she's unemployed and she'll get government benefits that neither one of them pay into. You think the average working Democrat wants that? No. What Asmongold here is saying is the moderate position.
Remove hope from the equation. If you resist, you will be arrested.
That's
like
right.
We're just this
exactly.
isn't
Yes. Make it to where there is not even a possibility that you're going to get away with it.
Consequences.
That's how it should be.
insurrection. There's
Hold up.
from the equation. If you resist, you will be arrested. Like this is an insurrection.
That's right.
There's
It
10
is.
million people here illegally. We're
Yep.
getting them out. You're rioting. You're going to jail too.
Done. Finished. Fuck them.
Yep.
I agree. Now you see why Asmongold is the #1 political commentator in the world. But people like Hassan Piker are always looking up at him, nipping at his heels, trying to be what Asmon is. But this is the moderate position now. You may have called that radical or far right 5 years ago, but people got tired of getting pushed around. And now this is what you get. This is what we voted for, and I'm here for it. Hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to you again real soon.
So yeah, you guys seen that, you heard that. So I've actually been saying this on my channel a lot, that, we voted for this. President Trump won, across the board. He won, the presidency. He won the popular vote. He won the swing states. Like, this man did it across the board for wins. And he ran on that. He ran on, the fact that he said, when they were trying to assassinate him and everything, he was like, look, dude, they're not after me for real. I'm just standing in the way. They're after you guys. And it's been proven that that's what they're after, because look at what J.B. Pritzker and Brendan Johnson were saying, and some of these other people that were saying, like, we're going to, compile a list and go after, the ICE agents. You guys are not safe. And anybody that helps them, they're literally saying the quiet part out loud, that they're going to come after you guys once they get power, because they don't want you to rise up against them. They want to kind of slap you back down. And this is our time to shine. This is our time to hold the line and literally, take these kids' gloves off, and, Asmongold, I do watch him, he's really hilarious. But, I don't really see him saying a lot of things, because there's stuff that he says that I don't agree with. And I don't think he's right-leaning. I agree. I think he's more probably in the middle. He's a fence sitter, because there are talking points that he does on left or right. So I can agree with that part, but it's just crazy how everything is going. And, we're at that one precipice, like I keep saying, like, we're just teetering, and it's getting insane with all this rhetoric and violence. But you guys let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Are you guys fans of Asmongold or Jeremy of the Courting? But I do want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Till next time, guys.